In this video, we're looking at the difference between jointly liable and jointly and severally liable clause in business. Now, this is a very important clause in business that anyone going to business must be conversant with, must understand, and must be able to be aware of its implications in terms of contract and interaction with clients, suppliers, and the general public. Okay, so let's take a closer look at what these clauses mean. So the first one is jointly liable, and here then all partners are collectively, and this is the key word here, collectively liable for the debts, liabilities of the business, or for a tortious act, irrespective, another key word here, of the role they played. All right, so this is so important that we have to take this again. All partners are collectively, keyword, liable for the debts and liabilities of the business or for a tortious act, irrespective of the role they played. So here, it doesn't matter your contribution to that wrongful act. It doesn't matter, even if you weren't part of contributing to the wrongful act, you are responsible equally. So let's assume here there are three partners in the business and only one partner, right, committed the wrongful act. These two partners are equally responsible, right? So the responsibility here then will be equal, and 33%, for example, will be equal 33% each, 33.3333, whatever that number is, percent each, right? Because it's jointly liable. It's a joint liability, and it's regardless of your role, your contribution to the wrongful act, you are equally responsible. So here it says, for example, if there are three partners and one partner is responsible for the wrongful act, the other two are equally, right? This is another keyword here, equally responsible to the same degree. And this is the important aspect of this particular clause, jointly liable. That's what it means. It does not take into consideration your role. As long as you're part of the business, as long as you're a partner in the business, you are equally responsible in terms of the percentage of responsibility or the level of responsibility. On the other side, jointly and severally liable, all right, and this is a very interesting one as well. It means that all partners are collectively, right? So again, another keyword, collectively, there is a but to this, collectively and separately, right, liable for the debts and liabilities or for a wrongful act. Now, what does that mean? It means that their level of liability depends, and again, another keyword, depends on the role they played in the wrongful act, right? So their level of liability is dependent on their level of negligence, on the role they played, on their contribution to the wrongful act, right? So for example, you have three partners, right? Three partners, and one partner, let's say this partner, right, was responsible for most of the wrongful act, right? So this partner will be responsible, for example, for 60% of the wrongful act, 20% here, and 20% here, right? So their level of responsibility, it varies depending on their contribution and to the wrongful act. So if this were to be a court case where money is being paid, well, this person will pay more. Let's say the judgment is for $10,000, 10K. This person may pay $6,000. This person pays $2,000. This person pays $2,000. That's jointly and severally liable, right? So therefore, it says here, therefore, the level of responsibility can vary depending on the role they play. Right, and this is also very important to understand in business, because you want to know your level of responsibility going to business, and you want to be very serious about how you interact with clients and the suppliers and the general public, because you know you will be responsible, right? In either clause, you know you'll be responsible. In one clause, you're fully responsible, whether or not you're part of that wrongful act. In the second one, you are responsible to the level of your contribution. So this really holds the partners accountable. Even jointly liable also holds the partners accountable, because you know that you have to be very careful And if you're not careful, your partners are responsible even though they have not contributed to the wrongful act, and they could be very upset, and that could really ruin the partnership and compromise the partnership. So this is a clause in business that everyone going to business must be aware of. You're signing a contract, you want to be aware of your level of responsibility. Is it jointly liable or jointly and severally liable? You have to be aware of this going to business. That way you can protect yourself and you can be very effective in the business arena, knowing your level of responsibility if there is a wrongful act.